Yo, yo, yo. What is up? So I am working, but I'm also uh, I'm just kind of speaking my mind here. And I was writing an email. I was writing an email to one of my clients, and the premise of the email was around questions that they need to be asking themselves consistently based off of what we're working on to measure progress and to align some of that activity with the growth of their business. And so I said, man, you know what? Why don't I just go on live and speak about some of these questions because I think it can help you as well. So when you get on, just drop a hello in the comments. Definitely want to be as engaging as possible here. So I'm gonna continue working. So I'm gonna have some pauses. All right, I'm gonna have some pauses, but I want to speak through a couple questions that you should be asking yourself consistently as a business owner and entrepreneur. Faith, what is up? Hey, hey, hey. So, um, one of the first questions that I think every business owner and entrepreneur should be asking themselves is, what am I actually building? What am I building? So I was working with my son. This was last Christmas. Was it last Christmas or yeah? I did another video on this topic, but my son and I, we were following these instructions on how to put together this Lego set, right? And the cool part about creating and building Lego sets is two things. The first thing is that there's a process on how to build the thing. The second big thing is you are aware of what you're building. Okay? So those two things. There are steps to create the thing, and you are aware of what you're actually building. Now, the reason I bring this up first is because I've noticed that a lot of people, they start a business, but they have no idea what they're building. They have no idea what they're building. They're just doing stuff. Like when it comes to how you want your business to operate, that's part of what you're building. When you think about what the value or the valuation of your business is going to be, like you've heard of people that say, "Hey, this business was just sold for $5 million. That business was sold for $40 million. This company was acquired. There was a merger. There was a merger, right? Like those things happen when you create a business that has a value to it. Like when people say, hey, like, in order to become a millionaire, if you want to become a millionaire, you start a business, right? The one thing that they don't tell you is this. They don't tell you this. You don't start a business and become a millionaire by making $1 million. You start a business and you become a millionaire by owning a business that's worth $1 million, right? Like the value of a business is based off of what someone is willing to buy it for. If someone's willing to come in and say, "Yo, love your business, love how you operate, love your margins. I love how this business has a unique angle of solving this problem, and I love that you have this client base that has this niche. I want to buy your business. I want to buy your business for 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, 40 million, 50 million. Like there's a value to the business based off of how it's operating, what it can bring in, what the resources needed to generate a certain amount of earnings. And because someone says a legitimate investor says, "Hey, I want to buy your business. I'm willing to buy your business. I think your business is worth $10 million." You are now a multimillionaire because you possess something that is worth millions of dollars. That's how you become a millionaire in business. You don't become a millionaire by making millions of dollars. You become a millionaire by owning things that possess value, right? Of $1 million or more, right? So that's the first big thing that I would say. Like you should be asking yourself on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, what am I building? What am I building? The second big question that I think business owners need to ask themselves more frequently is, um, am I getting closer to building the very thing that I'm seeing that I'm building, right? Like, am I making progress? Am I getting closer? Even if it's one step closer, am I getting closer? So you should have inside of your business, you should have what's known as key performance indicators, or some people call them KPIs, right? Like every week, month, there should be things that you're doing that's generating or creating progress, that's bringing forth or moving you closer to to progress, or achieving or building the very thing that you want to build. So 250, okay, cool. So am I getting closer? Am I making progress? Am I measuring? Am I measuring? There's a quote that I never forgot years ago, and it said, you can't grow anything you can't measure. You can't grow anything you can't measure, or you don't measure. You can't grow anything you don't measure, and you can't scale anything that you don't track. So you have to track, you have to measure, So um, if you all you have to do is just ask yourself the question. All you have to do is ask yourself the question. Like think about how powerful that is, right? Think about like I've seen people that they just don't ask themselves questions. We as humans, we naturally seek answers. We naturally seek answers. So when we seriously ask ourselves a question, our subconscious naturally seeks the answer to it. If you have on your calendar every single week, if you have a slot of time, it could be 30 minutes, and that 30 minutes is it. The question that you want to ask yourself within that 30 minutes is, like, let's say you have marketing goals, right? What did I do this week to get closer to achieving my marketing goals? That's all you have to do. Just ask yourself the question. That's it. Now, you then, your mind naturally starts to figure out, well, hey, is this an important enough question to answer? Is this an important enough question to answer? And then if it is, then you start to seek the answer. You start to put together the things. Like, is this, and you know what? I want to I want to create a correlation here with between why there are people who, like, they're doing their business full time, and then there are people that are doing their business part time, and why that whole importance question, it's harder for one than it is the other. Okay, so it's not a metaphor, but I like to correlate it with the rabbit and the fox, right? The rabbit and the fox. The rabbit is actually faster than the fox. The rabbit is faster than the fox. And you may ask, well, why is this Negro talking about rabbits and foxes? Well, here's the thing, right? The rabbit is faster than the fox because they're running for two different reasons. The rabbit is running for his life. The fox is running for dinner. Now, when someone has they're doing their business full time, when they're doing their business full time, their business is their livelihood. Your mortgage or your rent is not going to get paid if you don't run your business properly. Your car note is not going to get paid if you don't run your business properly. You are going to have mounting bills and debt if you don't run your business properly. Now, when you have a job and your job is covering a lot of stuff, then again, going back to that question, if you ask yourself these questions on a weekly basis, it's a little different because you're not running for your life. You're running for dinner. So your mind starts to say, well, you know what, man, I wanted to do this business because I wanted to make some extra money, but I wanted to make some extra money because I wanted a nicer car. Now, then you start to think about the nicer car and what that's going to bring you, and you might say, I mean, I don't need the heated seats. I mean, I don't need the heated seats, and I honestly don't even think I would use the I don't even think I would use. I'm trying to think of some luxury automobile stuff that people would work for, right? Your mind starts to say, do I really need to work hard for that? Do I really need to work hard for this? And it doesn't connect the dots on like answering those essential questions that's going to that's going to move you to answer it. Is this question important enough to answer? If the answer is yes, then you answer it. But again, there are people that are doing their business full times. They're running for their lives. Now, if you do have a job, and you do have a business, you have both. You can your requirements can be higher. So now if you have to save for your children's college funds, or you have to save to pay off a certain amount of debt, or you want to buy your first home, or if you wanted, like, you create these goals, and the goals cannot be achieved with just the job, and it also can't be achieved if you don't measure your progress to it, then your mind starts answering the questions, So again, first big question, go just kind of recapping. First big question is, what am I building? Am I building a business to solve a cash flow issue? Am I building a business to make extra income? Am I building a business to become a millionaire? What am I building? What am I actually building? And let your mind start to answer those questions. Second big question is, you basically start to ask yourself, how much closer am I getting? How much am I getting closer to achieving these goals? Am I getting closer to building what it is that I have a desire of building? Am I making progress? Very important. Very important. Now, there are other questions. I'm just gonna keep going with the questions. Another question is, what resources can I leverage in order to move me closer to building the thing that I want to build? What resources can I leverage to move me closer, or to get me to building the thing faster? Now, think about this, right? Think about this. If you have a car, right? A car, in essence, is an external resource from you, right? A car is an external resource from you that you invest in order to move you from place to place faster, right? So you invest in the car to move you place to place fast. So you pay for gas, you pay for the car, you pay for insurance, you pay for all this stuff so that you can get from point A to point B faster. If you want to get to the grocery store, you want to get there in 5 minutes, dope, you jump in your car. You don't even think about how much the actual micro costs are to the car. You just know you have it, you invested in it, and it's a tool to get you from point A to point B. Now, if you don't mind how fast you get places, then you would say, hey, you know what? Or I would tell you to do this. Walk. That's free, right? Walking is free, but walking is going to take you time, right? So the reason I bring this up, are there external tools and resources that I can use to get me from point A to point B faster in my business? The reality is that some of you actually need investments. Some of you need good debt, a loan, in order to enable you to hire and to scale and to buy some resources that could enable you to administer the business faster. Like if you have this grandiose idea of creating a business that's capable of doing A, B, and C, the cost to that may be $15 million. $15 million can enable you to create a $500 million business. But now what are you going to do? You're going to sit here and save $15 million? You're going to save $15 million? You can't save $15 million. Not doing random stuff. No, you have to leverage external resources. Now, if you can provide validation that you can create a $500 million business, if you got $15 million, then what's going to happen is these resources are going to come in and it's going to say, hey, you know what? I got 15 people have $1 million. All of a sudden, you now have the resources you need to create a $500 million business. If you were to say, hey, you know what? Like, I would like for everybody to be able to invest in my business, then you say, well, let me go public, right? If you're able to create a business that has that fulfills those requirements for you to be able to say go public. If you say, hey, you know what, I only want to work with a select number of people who can invest and contribute to my business, then you could remain private, and you say you find investors who have an interest in solving the problem that your business solves, and then you can connect those dots. Am I leveraging resources to enable me to move my business or propel my business forward faster? All of these are questions you should be asking yourself on a weekly basis. I'll say this: if you are not asking yourself weekly, if you're not asking yourself questions weekly about your business, then again, like that's, and I remember like somebody told me, they were like, Mike, man, like you you know, how do you think when you speak to clients now, entrepreneurs and business owners now? And the way that I think has dramatically changed over the years. Um, I don't I do my best not to care about other people's business more than they do. Not that not and again, like that's, I don't want to say that's hard for me to say, but I realized that I would project my excitement and energy on people, and then I would end up caring more about their business than they do. And so I don't do that. I don't do that anymore because it doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help them. So now, when it comes to like how often people think about their business and how they invest in their business, that's actually not my concern. If I can support and help someone in their journey to grow their business, then I do. If someone chooses not to invest in their business, chooses not to think about their business, chooses not to ask themselves questions about their business, chooses not to say, hey, you know what? I should self-audit myself. I should sacrifice a little bit. If someone chooses not to do that, not my concern. Now, I do personally like I look at different things. So I have two sons right now, right? I look at I look at the fact that there are elements of having a child, right? That it's imperative to do different things, right? It's imperative to do different things. Like you cannot not feed your child. You can't not feed your child. You can't refrain from feeding your child. You can't refrain from taking your child to the doctor, right? You can't not insure your child, right? Like there's certain things that when you have a child, like you have to do it because you need to keep the child alive. You need to develop the child. You need to grow the child. Now, here's the fun part, right? Or the funny part. Your mind knows what that child should develop into. So anything that's outside of that natural development, your mind sees it as being odd or something to fix, right? Like but again, that goes back to the first question in this live, which is, what am I building? What am I building? When you have an idea of what you're creating or what you're developing, it's easy to know when something's off track, right? So in your business, if you know what your revenue should begin to look like quarter by quarter, week by week, month by month, then when it's not that, you start to say, well, hold up, problem, where is it at? Let me diagnose. Same thing with a child, right? If one of their fingers starts to do something crazy, all of a sudden you're like, up, that's not normal. Child goes right to the doctor, right? Because you want your child to develop properly. You want your child to grow and to have a comfortable life and to prosper. So why don't you treat your business that way though? Because you don't love your business as much? Because you don't think that your business is your child? Because you don't think that your business requires things to be nurtured and investments to be made and developments? The reality around business is that, or just being the entrepreneur, is that What you build is in reality a product of something internal to you and your leadership and your vision. I read someone's post a little while ago. I think it was it Lawrence? I think it was Lawrence. Lawrence posted this. He spoke about Walt Disney. So one thing that a lot of people don't know about Walt Disney is that he actually passed away before Magic Kingdom was finished, was done being developed, right? So here in Kissimmee, Magical Kingdom was being created. Walt passed before the Magic Kingdom was finished. So one of the larger rides, one of the rides, Space Mountain, it was done, and they actually had this ceremony to grand open the ride. And so this child said, "Man, Mr. Disney didn't get to see this." And there were some other people that spoke, and it came time for Walt Disney's wife to speak. And so when she got up to the podium, she said, "I have a lot to say, but one of the first things that I would like to do is to correct the young child who said that Walt Disney didn't get to see this." And she looked around and she said, "The reality is that Walt Disney saw this way before any of you saw this. This is your first time seeing this." Now, think about how powerful that statement was, right? Walt Disney saw that. He already saw that, right? It just had to be built. He saw that. It just had to be built, right? So, in your business, is it possible for you to see something that hasn't been built yet? Absolutely. Is it possible for you to be able to curate resources to make it happen? Absolutely. Is it possible for you to be able to ask yourselves questions on a weekly basis to be able to make progress towards creating something that possesses a value and a need for external resources in order to create the thing and move you closer to creating it faster? Absolutely. Did you see what I just did there with those questions? Like, it is very possible. Everything starts with you asking yourself questions and having the level of seriousness to actually find answers. Do you have all the answers to this stuff? No, man. No. We don't got all the answers to this stuff. We don't know all the answers right now. It's not about having answers. It's about the pursuit of them. So in business, there's answers and there's questions that need answers. All you do is you just got to ask them. That's it. All you have to do is ask yourself questions. That's it. That's it. Earlier today, I did a live on the term return on investment. And the reality is that when you are creating anything, when you're building anything, you have an expectation for the input to that thing. If you buy gas, you expect the car to run, right? If the car doesn't run, then you have a problem to fix. You start to ask yourself a series of questions to diagnose where the problem is, or you find somebody that asks a series of questions to diagnose where the problem is, and you get it fixed. And why do you get it fixed? Because what that vehicle enables you to do is get from point A to point B within a certain period of time, faster than it would take you if you and I had the ability to sit here and fly everywhere. I guarantee there would be no vehicles. No, why? Because why buy a vehicle? Why invest in a vehicle if we can sit here and fly everywhere, right? Your business is I consider businesses to be a living, breathing thing. You could choose to feed it. You could choose to not feed it. You could choose to do whatever you want with it. The magnitude at which that business will serve you, your family, and others is going to be based off of how much you feed it. How much you feed it and how you feed it is going to be based off of the questions you ask yourself. So, I'm at 24. I'm at 24 minutes here. If you guys got any questions about if you have any questions about the questions, you got questions about the questions, let me know. Talk to me. What is up, you guys? I don't know why, but it is it's not telling me. No problem, Faith, no problem. I'm seeing Facebook. It says Facebook user, but it's not telling me um who wrote that comment. Oh, okay, there we go. Hey, hey, what's going on, man? So so again, questions that you should be asking yourself as a business owner on a weekly and a monthly basis. Um, what am I building? What am I building? Am I making progress? Am I measuring? Do I need external resources in order to get me to from point A to point B faster within my business? And is it important for this thing to be built? Now there's a few costs associated with your business as well, right? There's the cost of it not being built, and then there's the cost of it being built. There's always two costs. And that's something that I say even when I speak to my clients. Like I speak to my clients and I say, look, like there's two costs to everything, right? The first cost is um, not to buy or not to build, right? What happens if your business is never built? Does it impact anybody? Will anybody care? Are there going to be people who aren't served? Are there going to be people who possess a problem that's not solved? Are there going to be people's lives that's not impacted? Like what happens if your business is not built? What's that cost? And then you think about what's the cost of it being built. If you impact a certain number of people and they choose to invest in the solution that you're providing, how does that correlate with what was invested to create the business in the first place? As long as that investment or that return is greater than the investment that was made in order to create the thing, then you have a return on your investment. And you know what? I want to say that the return on investment from business is outside of just financial. It's outside of just financial. It's also the impact that you have on all of the people that consume the very thing that your business provides. Like even with me, right? Like there are things that I have to measure inside of my business, including revenue, and I have to look at costs of certain things. I got to measure my overhead. I gotta look at things inside of my business. But then I have to also look at and measure. Well, I don't even have to measure this, but those messages, when people send me messages and they say, Mike, man, like, you know what? I honestly, I was thinking about not doing my business no more, man. But I watched this live. I got that email that you sent out, and yo, like, that actually, for some odd reason, gave me a certain amount of energy. And yo, like, look at what I did. Look at what I built. Yo, look at all the money we raised to be able to impact these people. Look at the organization that I created and the grant that we just won in order to impact this community. Look at this, look at that. So those are intangibles. Those are also, I count those as a return on my investment, right? Like earlier today I spoke about the concept of calculating your return on investment, and it's based off time, energy, and money, right? So like if your time is worth a certain amount, typically on average when it comes to income, then that means that when you say yes to anything, that means you're saying no to something else. But if it's worth saying yes to one thing and no to something else, you are the one that's in control of where your energy, your time, and your money goes, right? So like right now, it's three something right now, right? If and I'm just gonna put out numbers here, right? If I average $95 an hour, right? If my income is on average $95 an hour for about 9.5 hours per day, right? That means that me being on live right now, I'm on live right now for 30 minutes. If I was not doing anything else within my business, that means that I gave you, or I sacrificed $49 or so. I sacrificed $49 or $48 in order to invest in you or invest in communicating this thought. So what I could have done was I could have not gotten online, and I could have not done live, and I could have just done my work and made $95 an hour. But I chose to say no to that for 30 minutes and say yes to this. Now, the return that I would receive is one, people saying, you know what, that's a very different viewpoint. I love it, and it moved me to do this and that. In my head, I'm like, worth it. The other side to it is someone may hit me up in a month or in a couple weeks and say, hey Mike, yo, like I've been checking out your lives and like on some real like I would really love to know what it is that you do. If I say, hey, like I got this program, that program, this, I got that. And let's hypothetically say that someone purchases my $500 or $600 program on how to launch an organic marketing campaign. If somebody says, hey, I want to invest $600 to learn how to organically market or how to organically sell. Now, all of a sudden, the $50 that I sacrifice now to invest in sharing knowledge and experience on live turned into a $600 purchase of a program, right? A $600 purchase that is now that's now a return on my time investment. But you can't get there unless you're measuring. You got to be measuring weekly. You got to be measuring monthly. You got to be measuring quarterly. You got to be measuring yearly. You got to be measuring. You can't grow anything you don't measure. All right. So I'm at 30 minutes. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Join my Reach and Revenue Builders group. I'm gonna post a link somewhere in the comments. I'm having discussions in there on increasing your reach and your revenue. Definitely want to make sure that I am a resource in that respect, because I know the majority of people who have businesses, that's really where their concern is, increasing their reach and their revenue. So join the group. Let me know if you have any questions. Ask questions in the group. Hit me up. Let me know if you have any specific interests in terms of how I may be able to be a resource to you. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.